This episode, ecollar training should be a drinking game. Every time you say ecollar training, and they'll be hammered.
Who, the fans?
Yeah.
Awesome.
They'll be gone.
Hey everybody, it's Sean. Where do I look? That way?
Look
where my
where
finger
it
goes,
says.
right?
Yes.
Hey everybody. It's such a bad habit. I look at me. Hey everybody, it's Sean, the good dog, looking at a black empty space on his phone and trying to pretend he's talking to you. And this is the lovely Laura Morgan. Say hi. And it's what, pre-Christmas? We're just about in the Christmas
spirit.
Yeah, and just in the home stretch for Christmas stuff. So hopefully you guys have all got your shopping all done and all that. And we're going to try and answer some questions for you guys, and hopefully with some good answers, make your Christmas a little brighter, so you can have a better time with your dog.
So cute. Right? Okay. Question number 1. This is from Katie Thorpe Pluskowski.
Who?
Katie Thorpe Pluskowski.
That's a tough one. Hey, Katie.
Hi, Sean and Laura. My question is about building confidence in a fearful dog. My rescue pit is about 2 years old. She will bark when she's unsure of some new objects. She used to be afraid of trash cans, and I solved this by throwing treats around the trash cans, and now I can walk by them without a glance.
Nice.
She's also overcome fear of the vacuum in a similar way. We just got out the Christmas decoration. There's a musical stuffed animal that plays music when you push a button. When the music starts, she starts barking and is fearful. I usually put new things on the ground and reward her when she sniffs them without fear. I'm not sure how I should be correcting the barking at these fearful moments. What's the best way to introduce items like this while building her confidence? Sometimes new things just pop up in everyday life, like running the blender, and I never know what silly thing will freak her out. Like if someone plays a harmonica or something, that freaks her out and she starts barking. So what would you do?
Okay, Katie. So it sounds like you're doing some good stuff already. It sounds like you've done some good counter conditioning with your dog around some fearful stuff. But I would definitely be going after any moments where your dog is barking, or growling, or any kind of negative reactions towards anything. So those kind of aroused states, you definitely want to put the kibosh on that, so that way you have an opportunity to then reward the better state. But you can't really do any work when the dog is in that place, and then the really kind of like uppity, intense mode. You can't do counter conditioning. You can't get them to feel different about stuff. They're just going to be overwhelmed. So first of all, you got to correct that stuff. I don't know if you're using leash and prong. I don't know if you're using e-collar. I don't know what your tools are. If you got an e-collar, then that's awesome, because it makes it so easy, whether you're in the house or on the walks. Even in the house, if you're across the room and you turn the blender on for margarita time and she goes bananas, you're able to correct that. And then when she gives you a calm state, then you can go over and reward that. The problem is most people, I'm not saying you, but most people will try and use treats or food when the dog's in a peaked state, and that's not going to get you anywhere. So that's what I would be doing. I'd be looking to correct any intensity. Nope, down. Dog training as we're filming. Down.
Good girl.
Nice work, right? You hear that good tone? So correct any intensity, any state of mind, intensity that's bad stuff, and then counter condition it with food. If you really want to get hip with this, then I would only feed her. I would dole out what her food portions are for the day, and then only feed her around things that you know are going to make her intense. That way she's much more driven, and you have more leverage and mentally, emotionally, much more leverage for her as far as interest in the food that you have. Rather than just using treats, you can actually use her own food and build her drive to where she's more interested. And then on top of that, I'd be doing a lot of duration work, a lot of state of mind work. So when we have dogs that are fearful, the last thing we want is a lot of wandering, because it tends to make them more uncomfortable as they're transitioning. So a ton of duration work that's enforced. That's not like, oh, she goes to place and then she's been there for 10 minutes and wanders away. It's place command, and she doesn't move for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, while the world goes on, while the blender goes on, while you're playing a harmonica, while you're doing a jig, any of that stuff. That's where you really start to break down a lot of this kind of reactivity, and I want to just flee the scene, or I want to bark, and that locking them down in a position really creates a lot of leverage that can help that stuff tremendously. So those are my go-tos for that kind of stuff. And same with, by the way, just to finish up, I know I've got to keep this short. When you're in place, or when the dog's in place, you can also, of course, still reward with food when they make good choices. but use that position to create more state of mind leverage for you, just kind of comprehensively, not just like, let's fix the blender thing, let's fix the harmonica, let's fix the dog overall and get the dog super duper calm and super looking to you for information and very deferential to you even when she's worried, and then all that stuff gets easier, all the food, counter conditioning, everything else gets easier. So
yeah,
that's it.
Just like your blog post about the pig. So Sean,
did you read that?
I did.
I thought you'd like that, seeing as you have
of course,
a
because
pig.
I have a little pig. I think that that's a good one to read. It's just talking about, we had a dog come in for a quick little board and train that was being really reactive to a pig on the property, and our head trainer Tony worked with them and didn't have a pig to work with.
Tony doesn't have a pig? Tony, you're fired.
Fired.
All of our trainers must have livestock.
So, but Tony still did great work with the dog, because it's not about the pig. It's not about the blender. It's not about the vacuum. I mean, they are components, and there's things just like you did with the trash cans. There's great counter conditioning, like Sean was saying, but the overall state of mind, getting it to a place where you can actually affect it around those things, is where it's at.
Yeah, that's the big stuff.
Question number 2. Amanda Jackson says, can you speak a bit to your board and train process, specifically how the transition back to the owners works and what kind of long-term success you see? Mm-hmm. Viewing dog behavior in the context of relationship and the fact that the dog needs to be successful with the owner, I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around board and train, though you clearly have success. And then Tricia seconds this. She says, I had great results from a board and train. However, though she's improved and can be in so many more situations than before. No. Yeah. I still feel frustration if she backslides, and in the fact that I just can't figure out
exactly the same amount of stuff.
Yeah. So obviously, she's trying to restrain herself with me and not just being like relaxed.
Right.
So the transition and relationship with the owner would be super helpful.
Cool. Amanda, super awesome question. And I think this one stymies a lot of people, and I get why. I mean, the concept of that, the issue is going on with the owner, and that the dog's going to go away somewhere, improve with that dynamic of that relationship, and then have that transfer over to the owners it can be a head scratcher for a lot of people. But we found that it works actually better than one-on-one training for us. So that's why we use that for any case that's got any kind of real stuff going on. It's only board and trains for us, because we just get so much better results. So I wrote a couple notes here for you to make sure that I could cover why this stuff works so well for us. So let me just run some of this down. So first of all, Laura sends out tons of homework, right? Lots of pre-homework. Give them a quick 2-second rundown.
Just basically like thresholds, crate, walk, sit, down, place. They get little videos, and they get timestamps of the videos of where to go to see what your dog's going to look like final product. Then they also get a video of like what the dog looks like hopping around the place, which is some of the stuff. Plus they get 1 month of what their next month of their dog is going to look like a schedule.
That's very explicit. It's not like the next month your dog should be in training 15 minutes a day.
Right.
It's like every moment of your day is structured and scheduled from the moment your dog goes home. There's no question what you should be doing with your dog. So what we're really doing is continuing this board and train. The 2 weeks we've done becomes a month and a half board and train. Yeah. And actually the dog ends up spending a month with the owners doing the same exact work that we're doing, which really solidifies, cements, and transfers over all of this work, and really busts any of the associations or perceptions that they've had in the past about their home environment and their owners and those kind of issues. So if the owners just went home and kind of went back to their old stuff and then did some training here and there, you'd probably have problems. But because we transfer it so seamlessly and they do the exact same thing, and the dog is virtually locked down for a month, like it's only working for a month. It's either in a crate, on a structured walk, working interior-wise in the house, doing place command, duration work downs, recalls, or having supervised time in the backyard, or it's back in the crate. And that's it. So it sounds rough, but it's been such a huge part of our success, is making sure that there's no big contrast between what the dog just experienced for 2 weeks with us and what the dog experiences when it goes home, because there's already going to be a little bit of a gap because the owners aren't going to be dog trainers. So we need to shore up every single thing and leverage every moment we can to really create those proper perceptions for the dog. So on top of the homework stuff, we do 2 go-home sessions before the dogs actually go home. So a few days before the dog goes home, we do a 1.5 hour and a half go home session where we cover all the interior work and ecollar and talk about everything we found with the dog and relationship things that the owner's going to have to work on. Then the day the dog actually goes home, they do another hour and a half, which we do the walk and exterior stuff and more shoring everything up. And then they have 1 hour after that where they get an additional, if there's any questions, any problems. A lot of our owners, I'd say most of our owners, don't even come back for that final session.
Unless it's something just like for fun, just like
I mean, or occasionally they'll have questions.
Oh yeah.
But the I think it's a real testament to how well things work is that final hour, which they have built into the program, they don't have to pay for it. It's already built in. We rarely see people come back for that. Rarely. So it's really transferring and working well. So let's see. I had something else.
Can I add something?
Absolutely, jump on.
So another big part of this is just who we bring through the door. So not in an elitist way, but we really, really work only with clients who are most dedicated, most ready to... Okay, we just got interrupted. So what I was going to say was the idea of the only people that come through the door are the most dedicated clients who are the most willing to make a big change. So we don't get a lot of casual clients, and I'm not saying you guys are casual or, there's not a lot of ones out there that are coming to us that are like, nah, this is happening, it's no big deal. It's a big investment to come see us. It's a time investment, money, all that stuff. So we make sure that the people come in are really looking to do work, again, continue work, and are down for all those changes. We make sure that that's fully clear and that they're up for that challenge before they even can pay and get scheduled.
Yeah, so a big part of why we're successful, Amanda, is because, like Laura said, the people come through the door, they're so committed, they're so down for the process, they're so ready to do their homework, and dog training is a team sport, and your team is made up of the dog trainer, and the owners. And if the owners aren't down, if your team is not together, you're going to struggle, and you're not going to win. So that is pretty much a big secret piece of the puzzle is pre-qualifying, making sure you get the right folks in. And then, of course, we also go very deeply into what's been problematic for the dog, what kind of relationship issues are going on. We diagram and assess and deconstruct everything that's going on, make sure that we don't just tell owners to do something. We make sure that they understand the why. So it's one thing to say, like, you must train your dog and do this and don't let him walk out in front of you. We want the owners to understand emotionally what they're doing and what it's causing in the dog, so that they can not only do what we ask them to do, but they can generalize it and make their own smart decision making. Mm-hmm. It's like, give a man a fish or teach him how to fish. So we're really trying to teach people how to fish so they can train their dog in our absence and not need our help. So they understand the concepts more generally, so they don't really need trainers. They almost become their own dog trainer, mm-hmm. which is really what we're looking for. And then Tricia, who piggybacked off of this, was the one that Laura mentioned is having some issues. Like, she's had good success with her dog coming back from board and train, but it's not getting the same exact results. And just a quick little thing just to kind of sew this up. Typically what happens, Tricia, is that some timing things are going on. You're probably catching the dog a little bit late on certain information. You're whether it's correcting on the heel or for intensity on the walk and looking or staring or in the house. It's usually, when we see problems like this, it's a combination of little moments getting unaddressed, corrections being too mild. And too mild and too slow is typically the big undoing. Mm-hmm. And then, let's see, did I write something else down? So basically that was it. And looking for all those small moments. So what dog trainers are really good at is seeing all these teeny tiny little moments. So they're able to really leverage all these moments to create really great success. And then an owner, if they're not totally aware of all of that, they can struggle because they start missing little moments, which starts to lift the dog up a little bit and their state of mind starts to get a little more loosey-goosey, and then you have more problems. So I'd start to look really, really, really diligently at any tiny moment you can find where your dog is participating in anything that doesn't look like fantastic behavior. Yeah. Address it early and address it firmly, and you should see better results.
Okay, question number 3.
Hustle time.
Hustle. Sarah Baker says, hey guys, just got back from Jeff Gelman's RV Dog Trainer Seminar in AZ.
Jeff.
and learned how to properly introduce the e-collar.
Awesome.
I tried it yesterday with my mom's dog, currently staying with us, and he just sat there, no eye twitch, no nothing, so I kept dialing up. Finally, at level 62, he responded with a slight head dip. I could see his muscles twitching, so I knew he felt it. I took it off and tested it in my hand and felt it at level 7. I tried it on my dog, and he responded at level 7. Or no, she felt it at 12. I put it back on my mom's dog, checked for proper fit and connection, same response, nothing. He just sat there and glared at me like he's trying to withstand the pressure. I finally gave up the exercise and decided to let my mom take care of it when she picks him up next week.
Leave it to mom.
She's
All right.
using a mini. Yeah.
Mini educator. All right. So Sara, so some dogs are going to give you very clear, quick, easy to read reactions to e-collar when you're introducing, trying to get a read on their working level. And some dogs are going to not. And hang on a second. Nope. Sorry, we got a little barky issue there. Okay, so, and some dogs are not going to give you easy reads. So a lot of dogs will like, so you tap the button at some low levels and you'll see eyes blink, you see head tilt down, you'll see them look around, you see them scratch. And some dogs will, just like you said, just stand there. They don't know what to do with it. Some are worried about it, some don't care about it. And what I always do is I always watch the e-collar box on their neck, the receiver, and I want to see if I'm seeing any neck movement when I tap the button. Does the neck move? If the neck moves and I'm not seeing a reaction from the dog, I know the dog's feeling it, but they're just not doing anything with it. So I also know that I have certain levels when I'm introducing a dog that, like on a mini educator, if I'm going above like 15, I know that the dog's most likely feeling it, and we've got something I need to fix or resolve. I'm not going to just keep going up and keep going up. So that would be a situation where you need to give the dog more information. So say I'm in your shoes, tap, tap, tap on this dog. I'm at 8, 9. So most dogs feel it, like on a mini educator, between like 5 and what would you say, 5 and 8, 5 and 9. That's pretty typical that they'll feel it. And if we're not getting something by the time we're at like 12 or 13, I'm going to go in and check the fit, which is what you did. And then if I know the fit's really good, I'm going to go back down, like start at like 2 or 3, start moving up and looking for this receiver to move. And if I see the receiver move, that's where I start, right? And if I don't see the receiver move, say we got something weird going on, like some wacky situation where I don't see the receiver move, I'm still going to move to the next step, which is giving the dog leash guidance, right? Tell them what to do with the pressure. So that's going to be a rarity that you don't see anything though. So most likely, dog's not giving any reaction, little movement on the neck when you tap the button, great, dog's feeling it, you've got the long line on, press the button, and then guide the dog, right? So typically we do it where we're behind the dog, dog's facing that direction, press the button, light, gentle leash guidance towards you, dog starts to move towards you and turn around, button goes off, good boy, good boy, good boy, repeat, 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 until the dog starts to get a feel for what to do with the pressure. So some dogs just either don't know what to do with the pressure, none of them know what to do with the pressure, but some of them get worried about it, and some of them just kind of like get still about it. So your job is not to press the button and then hope that they're going to do something. Your job is to press the button and then give them lots of information about what to do with that pressure so the dog is comfortable and not worried or not confused by it. It's really like e-collars give no direction. They just give sensation. They're awesome, but the leash is what gives direction to what you want them to do with that pressure. So that's my answer for that.
Okay, question number 4. This is Kandice K.
Hey, Kandice.
Dear Sean and Laura, I love you guys.
Oh.
She just wrote us an awesome email too. She was that awesome email.
Which one?
I think with Cora.
The dog police?
I think.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Man, that was a great email.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
You guys did so awesome.
Yeah. I think. 100% sure.
If not, we know you're going to do awesome in the future.
It's an awesome email. Okay, so my question is pertaining to tips on long straightaways while walking and how to clearly communicate to the other dog's owner while dealing with confidence issues. First off, I live in a small town. There's only one long trail that everyone uses for walking. Both my dogs have severe leash reaction, so she's learning to work more on this, and she's realizing how much social pressure is negatively affecting the way I handle them. I recognize that sometimes I don't stop soon enough to stop their behavior, and this is because I feel rushed or misunderstood by the other dog owner. There are long straightaways, and corrections won't stop them from staring at oncoming people, dogs, motorcycles, bikes, the works. I think that I weird people out from afar when I start to do 180s because my dogs are already fixating on them. And sometimes 180s make it worse, and then I fail to calm them down. Yeah, and they're about to pull, lunge, and lose it, and this is when I try to turn them around to face me. 75% of the times I stop, the other dog's owner stops too. These dogs will let their dogs stare at my dogs, and this causes it obviously to get worse.
Gotcha.
So she's just feeling rushed. Do you have a catchphrase to help communication in these kinds of stressful moments? What am I doing wrong? This is a big one.
Yeah,
This is a great
question, Kandice. First of all, it's a jungle out there. So anybody who's working with reactive dogs and trying to do their best, I applaud you. I've been there. Laura's been there. We all know what it's like to have a dog that's challenging and feel social pressure from other owners, feel judged, feel uncomfortable. It can be a real tough one. I know with Oakley, my guy, the guy got me into all this. Like, the hardest thing to do was correct him in front of people when he needed it. I felt terrible, and I felt like people were going to judge me and think I was a bad guy and all that. So we ended up really struggling a lot longer than we needed to because I was so concerned about being judged, being criticized. So that was my own work that I had to work on. But so I would definitely encourage you to give yourself permission to do whatever you think is right with, and it's easier said than done, but really trying to jettison, let go of that judgment from other people. If they don't have a situation they can relate to, they're just not going to get it, and that's okay. They don't need to get it. They don't need to know what's going on. You just need to own what you're doing and feel comfortable and confident about it, and move forward with it. As far as catchphrases, the thing that we teach all our clients is really simple. Is just tell them, my dogs are in training, and people tend to understand that pretty clearly. It's a very simple, like, okay, I'm working on something. My dogs are in training means there's a problem, means there's an issue I'm trying to surmount, and that typically puts them in a much more respectful mode where they give you a little bit of leeway and they're more patient and understanding. So I think that's probably a good...
That's the good catchphrase. But the other thing is that this may be too much pressure for your dogs at this time in your process.
That's what I have written down as
really?
well, too. Look at you, so smart. Look, that's why she gets the big bucks.
Notes beforehand. No, so do you want to go?
Well, I mean, no, why don't you rock and roll with that?
No, just that thing of like, you're at the start of things and things are going really well, but we never tell people to go to the World Series before they're done with batting practice. So you may, if you don't have any space on that trail to be able to give more space, it may just be too much. You may be moving too fast. So what we would do is have you go to a less populated area. I know that's the place where everyone walks their dogs, but maybe go to a place where not everyone's walking their dogs. You have a little bit less dog traffic, so you can work them, get your relationship better. Yep.
Yeah. So
confidence and all that.
Yeah, I think Laura just really hit on everything. I mean, I have the same exact note here, which is you need to work elsewhere. So if you're trying to get your dogs to trust you, you're trying to get your dogs to be more calm, you're trying to trust yourself, and you're trying to kind of get this all together, and you're doing it in a high pressure environment where lots of dogs are coming, people aren't understanding, there's not a lot of space to move, option wise, to relieve some of that pressure, and it continues to go on. That's a setup for both you guys, or all of you guys, to fail. So as much as it might feel like going to where the problems are is the best way to address this, it's not until you've got a lot of leverage. And that leverage is your dogs are rocking and rolling in smaller versions of this around other dogs at a greater distance. They're really doing good. This should be kind of like like Laura said, your World Series. This trail should be when you've got so much progress that's when you go to that stuff. So we're working with clients with this stuff. We always, even if they go home from a board and train, we teach them that, start slow so you can build confidence in you and your dog. You don't need to go thread the needle with another dog. I'm not saying you're trying to thread the needle, but like this trail sounds pretty challenging.
Yeah.
We definitely say, like, give your dog space. If you need 5 feet, if you need 10 feet, if you need to cross the street initially, that's fine. You won't do it forever, but we really want you to build that confidence, because what happens is when the pressure gets when it gets higher around your dogs, you have less time, right? Your timing, like the window you have gets like about this big. Your correction levels need to be higher. So everything gets more challenging for you and your dog. Now, if it's me and I've been doing it a million years and I go out there, I might be able to like maybe eke out some success there, but even I might struggle there just because it's so much pressure and your dog's state of mind is going to be so escalated. So take it easy on yourselves. Go somewhere where there's still challenges, but at a much more moderate level. Build awesome success there. Get your dogs so patterned to where they walk by dogs that they don't care. Get yourself so patterned that you trust your dogs and you guys all feel confident. And then you can start moving towards these situations where they're really challenging on the trails. And then you can tell people, hey, my dogs are in training, so we're going to look a little weird over here doing this stuff. And be light about it. You know, just try and take some of that pressure off. And it's just dog training. You know, don't let it be this big, heavy-duty thing.
Yeah. You may want to walk one dog at a time too. You've got 2 dogs going on right now. Oh my gosh, it sounds like all of us when we get started, especially when you get some success. You're like, oh my gosh, I should be able to do this and take both dogs out. If you have 2 leash reactive dogs, the last thing I'd want you to do is be walking both of them at the same time. If they're getting to a 9 or 10 at any sort of situation, you should be walking them one at a time.
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap up, if it doesn't make sense, you know, time-wise for you to walk both your dogs separately, then walk them together. But you really got to go to an environment that allows you to have the opportunity to succeed, okay?
Right.
We start off easy. Even ourselves, we don't go to places and we don't go straight to the park if we got a really, really serious case. We try and get the dog calm and quiet and relaxed first, and then we start addressing the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
So.
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have 30 minutes to walk your dogs, I'd rather have you do a 15-minute great walk with either dog separately than do 30 minutes of a so-so walk that drives you nuts and you're not getting any farther.
You're 100% right. That's why we got you here.
Question number 5. Armando. Armando, hi, Sean and Laura.
I think this is 6. Isn't it?
No, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So, hi, Sean and Laura. I know that there have been times when you felt you've made little progress to a dog's reactivity with a prong. I remember one particular dog you'd spent 90 minutes on but felt you had made little progress with.
Was I crying at the time?
You were crying, I think. No, do you remember what dog that was? It was just recently.
Yeah. It'll come to
like,
me.
It'll
come to me.
This isn't, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Abra.
Abracadabra?
Abracadabra.
That was in NOLA, right?
Yeah, no, in Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz. Gotcha.
So if I'm not mistaken, in those instances, you go directly to the remote collar.
Yep.
But while I've seen videos on remote collar healing, I don't recall on how to curb the instinct towards reactivity with just a remote collar. I'm wondering what your actual protocol is for containing on-leash aggression strictly using the e-collar. My particular issue revolves around a dog that's been trained well on the remote, but continues to act on her impulse to be reactive on the walk despite a long period of work with the prong. I don't feel shy about giving a sharp correction when needed, and I'm hyper-focused on her. I'm a trainer, so I'm quick to catch her reactivity escalation, but it doesn't stop her. It does, however, slow her down, so if her unchecked reactivity was at a level 10, I can contain her and keep her at a 4 or 5. I think we can do better and can bring her to a 1, but that's as far as I believe we can go with the prong collar alone, which is like a 4 or 5.
Okay, so is it Armando or
Armando? Yeah.
Armando. Hey, Armando, cool question. While there's not a video where I kind of like walk through the protocols of working on e-collar reactivity stuff, 90% of my videos, if you watch them, are doing just that though when we're outside on the walk. So I probably don't say like, hey, this is a like reactivity protocol, but that's a lot of what we're doing. So if you watch any of those reactivity videos, and you'll hear me talking about using the e-collar to correct, that's what's going on. So let me try and kind of give you the 411 on this. So first of all, get the dog to heel immaculately on an e-collar. I use the prong collar at the same time, but just for direction, not for corrections and not for getting the heel. I use the e-collar, as you've seen in that video, to teach the position, and then I use the e-collar strictly I want to get off the prong collar for these heavily reactive guys because it makes it worse. So the prong is just there for backup. E-collar is going to do all of the really heavy lifting, and I want an immaculate friggin' heel. I want it so good that the dog is like, God, this is such hard work, and the dog has got about this much mental energy left to send out to other dogs. It's working so hard on doing this that it can't even think about other dogs. So that's the first element. The other part of it is that we do a ton of work inside the house that seemingly has nothing to do with the reactivity, but has a ton to do. And that's all the state of mind work we do inside here, all the duration work, all the accountability work that we do that gets the dog really deferential, really respectful, really calm, really relaxed, brings stress levels way, way down. So the dog lives at a much, much lower stress level, just state of mind level in general. So I'm able to take that dog out on the walks, which gives me a ton more leverage. That all said, once we've got that, then I actually use the e-collar to correct for any focus, especially with bad reactivity cases. They're not allowed to look at dogs because they don't know how to do it nicely yet. So, we've got this guy Elron, and we had Elsie or Emmy that just went home for board and train stuff, and both of them came with heavy, dog reactivity stuff. And so, walk, heel, make this look immaculate, get the state of mind right. Use enough space around dogs to where you're not pressure cooking your dog, to where you have enough time and state of mind cushion before they explode. I don't use the prong collar for any of these corrections. The prong collar, once again, is just loose, hanging at my side, or just moderately loose, just for backup. And then the second that the dog moves out of like relaxed, easy, fluid, is languid the right word? I don't know if it is, but like relaxed ear set, relaxed forehead, and then all of a sudden ears come up and the dog looks like this in another dog, bang. I'm correcting that state of mind change and the staring, and if you can get the dog to stop staring, then the dog really can't escalate, can't go any farther. So the trick is to find a level on the e-collar when you correct, and I just pair it with no. So dog, we're walking, heel, everything's awesome. Dog sees another dog over there, stares, gets intense. No, I correct it 20. The dog goes, I really, really don't like that dog, and doesn't break away. I go to 30. No, the dog, then you see the state change, ears come down, dog relaxes. Great, we keep walking. And if sometimes I might even sit the dog down so I can just sit my dog, focus on my dog, let the other dog walk by, and then the dog, you'll probably see this in videos as well. Dog's not allowed to stare at the other dogs. Any head turn? No. Right? So I'm not correcting for the aggression. So the aggression is just the unchecked moments catching up with you and then exploding like that. So what we do is we mitigate all of those moments, right? So starting with the heel and starting with thresholds and starting with inside work, and then the dog's healing really nice. And then the second that we get any change from this nice easygoing guy to focus, intensity, alerting, no, quick pop on the e-collar. You said you got good timing, so that's awesome. Correct then. Find the level. Don't care about the level. Find the level that the dog cares about where the state changes. You don't want the dog just to go, and he's still looking, nothing's transpired. You said you'd do a sharp correction with a prong. You're looking for a sharp correction with the e-collar that relaxes the dog. And e-collars typically will cause more de-escalation than a prong will cause escalation in severe cases. So find the level the dog cares about, find it fast, and don't worry about the level. Just watch the dog, and what the dog will do, pair it with a no, pop. There'll be a level where the dog will go and relax, and you keep walking, or you're in your sit, and the dog will be looking at you like, okay, I'm not going to look at that dog. Great, don't look at that dog. So, and you can pair it with food at that point if you want to. Sometimes with some of these guys, we'll use food stuff to kind of deepen that process and deepen a bit of focus. But I don't ask the dogs to watch me ever. I don't ever say, look at me or watch me or any of that. That's just a byproduct of the relationship, and then correcting for the staring, and then the dog just says, I'll look at you instead. I don't want to look at that guy because that guy gets me in trouble. So that's how I do it. I don't correct if you're correcting for aggressive displays with the e-collar. You already lost your moment. That means you've missed a bunch of little ones that have now taken you off into a big heated display where things are ugly. And at that point, there's no point in even correcting because you're fighting against state of mind and physical intensity that's not going to cause any learning or positive stuff to transpire. So, sound good?
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay.
Who do we got
Question
here?
number 6. We got Christine. She says, hi, I'd love to have my dogs less reactive when the doorbell rings. I have 3 dogs.
Me too. I hope you've got a good answer for this.
A lab pit mix, a Rhodesian, and a palm chai mix. Of course, they all follow suit when one barks and it gets out of control. They know the place command. Well, I need to redirect them there a couple times. However, the barking still continues. Is there any way to train your dogs to not bark at the sound of the doorbell? I'm asking a lot. I feel like writing a note on my door to please refrain from ringing the bell. Text or knock lightly, please. I guess with the 3, it just gets a bit loud, especially from the little one.
Always the little
Always
one.
the little one.
Christine, thank you for the question. What is this one? 6, 7?
This is question 6.
6. Okay, so Christine, this is the age-old, doorbell conundrum. If you know anything about Pavlov and dogs getting conditioned to a sound, and the sound, precipitates or indicates or triggers, triggers an event. And so what you guys got is you've got, the doorbell. This sound is triggering, in your dog's mind, this future event that's going on. Which means people are coming to the door, which activates territorial stuff, also excitement about guests and things like that. So it's just a big, bing, crazy stuff's going on. So it's good that you've got place command going on, but you really need a way to address arousal. That's kind of what you're fighting against here, is the doorbell's triggering arousal in all 3 of your dogs, and then of course they're triggering arousal in each other. You have to be able to address it if you want them to de-escalate to where you can actually get them to place and stay there and be calm and all that stuff. So with my guy Junior, when he would get barky, or even now if he gets barky at somebody walking up, I walk up and I give him a quick finger poke right in the sweet spot, and he goes, ooh, and then he stops, and then I can direct him to wherever I want him to go. But if I don't break that arousal, I can't really direct him because his state of mind's elsewhere. So you could try, and that's kind of a more complex thing, like doing hand stuff and stuff like that, stuff I don't recommend for most people. Obviously, if you had all your dogs on e-collars, that would be fantastic, because you could just go bing, 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 and everybody would stop. That's probably not what you have going on. So I'd say you could try a pet convincer as a cheap possibility. You can order them off of Amazon, and they're compressed air, and they make a loud sound, pretty darn loud, and most dogs really dislike it. So you could use that. Your dogs go bananas at the door, walk up, your dogs go, oh, holy mackerel, what was that? And you say, that's right, now go to place. You've broken the arousal, now you can talk to them at lower levels, go do this, and they're much more apt to do that. Now, some dogs don't care about pet convincer, which is challenging if that doesn't work. So some dogs care about it a lot, and it corrects generally. It doesn't correct just one dog, so that's another piece of the puzzle. You could do little leashes and prong collars, and actually create a whole training program in your house, and have your dogs dragging around like little small leashes. And when they're at the door barking, you could walk up and pop, 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 and give everybody a little correction, and teach them that is a behavior that you're not into. You have to have some kind of way to break that arousal. Some people will use like a squirt bottle and squirt the dogs. So that's kind of what it comes down to. I don't know if there's even a real fancy thing. I mean, you could try and get into some fancy schmancy training.
Just need a correction that works for them,
Yeah.
Like you're saying, the e-collar, but
that's a hard one for if you haven't done e-collar work, to say I'm going to do e-collar work with 3 dogs,
Yeah. But having them all on little prongs and correcting pretty firmly for breaking place, and then with the barking, every time they bark, no, correct.
Yeah.
And working on it a lot without anyone actually knocking and ringing the doorbell. Working on it with just you ringing the doorbell, and working on that in more of a controlled situation, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, the more expensive, more involved route, but better route is e-collar, because you can correct at a distance, and your dog knows that you don't need to be right next to them to be effective, because dogs know this stuff. And you could be sitting here at the table, and somebody knocks, and dogs bark, and you go, no, and they go, oh, I can't do that, and then you direct them over to place.
Right.
That's a piece of cake. Leash and prong, cheaper way to go about it, more time intensive, more physically intensive. You got to get up, no, go over, correct, pop, and then have the dogs like dragging around little leashes, things like that. Sounds like a pain in the butt, but that's that's a very normal way to train and go through stuff if you're not going to do e-collar stuff. You need a tool on your dog to be able to affect change and show them what you don't like. So, and then if you don't want to do that, you can try Pet Convincer for $30 and see how that works. For a lot of folks, Pet Convincer, quick little spot. Dog's like, oh man, I don't like that. Then you can correct and tell them what you want to do. So I think I'm just stopping itching over here. Or not. So that's my 15-year-old guy, like still causing trouble. So that would be my suggestion with that. Let us know which one you go for and what kind of results you get from it, and we'll see if we can help you further from there. Sound good?
Okay, question number 7. David. Hi, Sean.
Hi, David.
Walk dogs at my local animal shelter as a volunteer.
Good for you.
When I get a dog, it is usually agitated from the other dogs barking in the kennels and is excited for the walk. Often the dog has issues on the walk, like pulling and reactivity to other dogs. It's hard to counteract because I can't have a prong on them, let alone an e-collar. What are your tips to make the best out of this situation? I may not be able to train a dog because I can't do all the good stuff like duration, but at least I don't want to make it worse. P.S. I've been watching all your videos. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thanks, David. Appreciate it, man. This is one of those hard ones where there's not a lot of great answers, unfortunately. So I used to do stuff for a rescue, a big rescue organization here in LA. It was really frustrating because they didn't use any tools like that either. And basically, you take dogs out for exercise, but really they're just a wreck the whole time. They're disconnected, they're overstimulated, they're aroused, and they're not relaxing, they're not calming down, they're not really present. And so it's a bummer, you know. We're trying really hard to affect change through our videos to help kind of broaden the understanding of these tools and how helpful they can be for dogs. So it's a challenging one at this point in time because most rescues don't allow that stuff. So what you can do, if they'll allow you, you can use Pet Convincer. It's just air. If they won't let you use Pet Convincer, that really sucks because it's really like they're really tying your hands behind your back. But you could use Pet Convincer to just quiet the dog down. You could use it to quiet other dogs in the kennels down and try and create a whole kind of like comprehensive relaxation state just by addressing each individual dog. I would do, if you go to my website, www.thegooddog.net, and watch the crate video. The crate video will show you what I do to create some initial state of mind change with dogs that are kind of like goofy like that. Whether it's a kennel or whether it's a crate, you can still use the door as a corrective device to break that lack of impulse control and that arousal. And if you do it sharp, you can really get a dog's relax and take a breather, and then he's more receptive to all the other tools that you use. So I would try Pet Convincer. I would do the crate exercise. Watch that video, my free do-it-yourself video. Slip lead, high on the neck. If they're only letting you use martingale or flat buckle, really hard. At least the slip lead, you get some control, but you're going to get choking and all that stuff, which is really a drag. You know, it's so bad when you know there's tools that will make the dog more comfortable, more relaxed, and not choke, but you can't use them. So then lastly, if you want to be really devious, gorilla style, and I know a lot of rescue folks, people that volunteer, they'll keep a prong collar in their pocket and they'll take the dog out, and then, you didn't hear this from me, but then they'll put a prong collar on the dog once they get outside and have a really nice walk and get the dog into a good space. And a lot of people will be like, wow, how'd you get the dog so calm and cool? You know, and you're like, you know, we got magic. But that's something that other folks I know that volunteer at rescues where their hands are tied will do in order to help the dogs. And you didn't hear me recommend it, but it's a great idea. So anyways, I wish I had better advice, but really it's like when they put those kind of limitations on you, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
But I applaud you for trying to do your best work, and I would really suggest, if you can, trying to see if there's any rescues around you that would allow more latitude to try different tools so you could go in there and do better work. And that's when you can really help some dogs. So that's it.
Question number 8.
Yes.
Kirsten asks, I have
Kirsten.
a 4-year-old German pinscher that I adopted about 9 months ago. He seems unfamiliar with a lot of situations and thus reacts poorly, barking.
Did you say farting? That would be a poor reaction.
I said barting.
Oh, I thought you said farting.
Which is
I was like,
barking
we have to
and
get rid of
biting.
this dog. Every time you see something he doesn't like, he farts.
No, he's barting,
Which
is
that dog.
barking and biting,
Okay.
growling, etc. He's especially aggressive with small yappy dogs. Is that the shepherd?
Yeah. You guys?
Okay.
Stay tuned. Laura?
He's especially aggressive with small yappy dogs, small children, and adults who approach him when he's in his bed and kennel. He's very friendly with husband and I, but he's bitten us both if we're doing something he doesn't like, such as cutting his nails or taking a bone away. What can I do to teach him he is not to be aggressive towards strangers and other dogs? I'm especially afraid for kids and in off-leash dog parks. Well, we'll wait for Sean, but I want to start with... we probably shouldn't have this dog at a dog park right now until we can get some better handle on him. You know what we're going to say. We're going to talk about ecollar and all that good stuff, but I'll let the big cheese fill you in on that. So,
hey, Kirsten. Hey, Kirsten. So, Laura, you already talked about dog parks?
Yeah.
Right. So if you got a dog that's not in a good space, not in a good state of mind towards dogs or people or kids, and you're worried at all, it's really a liability issue. You shouldn't be putting that dog in, or anybody else or their dogs in that position, and not to hard time you, but just to give you some good information that we want our dogs to be happy and you know, have interactions, but your dog is not ready for that. So what I really recommend is a comprehensive somebody's panting, a comprehensive training program for you. There's no easy fix for what you've got going on. Your dog sounds like it's stressed out, empowered, entitled, bratty, worried, overwhelmed, all that not so good stuff. So we see dogs like yours all the time. That's pretty much all that comes in for our board and train. And that's not, we don't do those in one-on-ones. We don't do those in walk doctors. That's the reason, is because they need a comprehensive approach. If your goal is really get your dog into a good space where you can be safe around kids and people and other dogs, and you need to take your dog to a balanced trainer and have them help you out, I'd suggest a board and train. If you need recommendations or referral, let us know. Email us at thegooddog.la@gmail.com, and we'll find somebody close to you. But you should have e-collar training. You should have tons of structure. You should have tons of rules and accountability, and the best tools going to get this dog into a better space. The fact that the dog is resource guarding with you and biting at you guys over stuff it doesn't like, bad news bears, and that he's lunging, just all of that stuff. Your dog's just in a bad state, and we see it all the time. And the good news is there's lots of room for your dog to get better, but it's not like a quick fix. There's no like, don't let him on the couch and he's going to be okay. No, this is bigger than that. You really need to go after this, or else your dog's going to get himself into a bad space, going to bite somebody seriously, and then you guys are going to be in trouble. So that's my recommendation for that. Yeah,
the resource guarding and all that stuff, that's nothing to mess around with. You know, if he's bitten you over that stuff, that's foundational, ground up, see a professional sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, just err on the side of caution.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 9. Question number 9. Ashley.
I don't have Ashley. No. I don't miss Ashley.
Ashley Levinson says, I have a very barky dog. We believe she's a shepherd mix, and they're very territorial. Nothing we do seems to stop her from barking at everyone that walks by the street. Every squirrel in trees, UPS trucks, and the mailmen. We've tried teaching her quiet and learned that barking, then stopping meant cookies, so she just barked at me. Yelling at her doesn't work. We have an e-collar on her now, and the other day she wouldn't stop at low levels, so I turned it up way higher. She whined, I let up on the button, and she immediately went back to barking. I try giving her a light correction, but as soon as she starts getting worked up, she ignores it. I can't keep her from the windows and noticing the passersby. In addition, if we're crating and leaving her in a single room while we're gone, she will bark the whole time. So any help to make her quiet?
Shut up! Okay, so e-collar's on. First, I mean, we only have a few minutes before we got to roll, so I'll have to be really quick with this. So I would be going for more comprehensive stuff rather than just addressing the moments at the windows or on the walks or anything like that. Your dog needs to learn how to do... duration place command. That's e-collar enforced. I have a video. Just go to thegooddog.net, and e-collar place and train that, and understand that if you can keep your dog in place for long periods of time, e-collar enforced, correcting for any whining, barking, breaking place, you'll start to get a lot of state of mind change that will help you in a lot of other contexts. You need to get your dog more relaxed and chilled out in general. And then what you want to be doing is correcting at the first tiny little moment that your dog gets anything at the window, and correct firmer. Don't start low and start moving up. Go firmer and bring your dog down. So, and don't hold the button. Just a quick tap, right? Just go for a sudden burst of pressure. Pa! Don't go for this, that can actually like create more intensity. That we use that more for teaching stuff at much lower levels than corrective stuff. So I'd be looking to go for small moments, correct very early, and correct much more firmly than you have been, so you cap that intensity and bring it way back down, rather than your dog kind of like reacting and then like pressing and holding and seeing what you're getting and then letting off your dog's barking. I guarantee you, if you'll correct earlier and more firmly, you'll see better choices tremendously. But also you need a comprehensive thing. Your dog needs to walk like an angel. You should watch my e-collar heel video with Fusa, also in my videos, and you should mimic that immaculately. Try and have the exact same heel walk going on, and then that will start to impact the state of mind. So if you do nothing else but e-collar heel, e-collar place, make both those look just like my videos, and then correct for any change in state of mind the split second it starts to go, and you do it firmly, you'll see a lot of changes, a lot of improvements.
Yeah.
Next question. Let's wrap it.
Okay, question 10.
Yep.
This is Katie.
Katie.
My dog hovers over little dogs, and when they run, she goes into chase mode. She has never hurt or went after a dog, but I would like her to be able to play nice with all sizes of dogs. She loves to play. Any ideas? And you are amazing, Sean. Aww.
Wow, how nice.
About me.
Okay, Katie. Man, we are in the home stretch. 4 minutes. You're great. You're awesome.
Thanks.
They just assume it's a default. They assume that you know that you're great.
Katie.
They know that I'm more insecure and that I need a lot more affirmation to build me up.
That's very true.
I appreciate that. So Katie, e-collar would be best for this stuff. There's really no way to address this without an e-collar. So what I would do is, if nothing else, I would do get yourself an e-collar, e-collar Technologies Educator Mini. Watch my recall video. I've got 2 really good ones that will show you how to do it, like really comprehensively, give you all the step-by-step details of how to do it. And within a week, if you're practicing, you should have a pretty great e-collar recall. And then once that's really stable, then you can move from pressure, teaching your dog what the recall means, to actually correcting, in smaller contexts, like especially in the house is a great way to practice where it's not too challenging. Get your dog to recall really nice in small places, small environments like your home. And then you can take your dog out. And then you can take somebody's punitively honking. I call that punitive honking. And then you can take your dog out in situations where there's more distractions. So obviously you got to build that. Oh my God. You got to build that slowly. You can't just like go recall like in serious stuff straight away. It's going to take some time to build it up. It stopped her from panning. So maybe that's a good corrective technique we need.
It might be a problem.
Is it going to be a brawl?
I'm going to go out there.
Laura's going to go sort them out. So you just got me, Katie, for this wrap up. So it's a jungle out here. Yo! Nope. Down. Look at that. Handling domestic issues. Anyways, Katie, so before we wrap this up, think about going with the recall videos, right? Both of those 2. Start in small contexts inside your home. Get your dog to do an awesome job of recalling there. Then go to your yard. Get your dog to recall there. And then I want you to go to outdoor areas without dogs. Get your dog to recall there. And then you can start having your dog recall around off of other dogs. So what I would do is, if you're out with your dog and once you've got all this stuff in place and your dog's recalling awesomely, by the way, you can get that e-collar off of Amazon, the Educator Mini off Amazon for like $180, so it's not even that expensive. You need a long line to practice with. I'd get a 50-footer just to make sure you've got some stuff. I'm going all over the place. And then once that's all rocking and rolling, you've got a really great recall going on, then you can have your dogs in situations that cause that cause issues like that where the hovering's going on, and then you can just recall your dog off, right? So if the dog starts to hover, recall him away. I don't like that. Get over here. And then see what kind of progress that gives you, right? So if you can recall him off, and if that starts to break the cycle, if the dog's like, oh, I don't get to play with other dogs when I'm doing this hovering silliness, so maybe I won't do it, then awesome. If not, then you can actually correct at some lower levels, right? As a little reminder, like, hey, knock it off. So it goes into hover mode, quick little tap on the button, not at an excruciating level, but a level where your dog goes, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Oh crap, mom's actually right next to me, even though she's across the field. She's right next to me with the e-collar, and then your dog goes, oh, I shouldn't make that choice. And then you start cultivating better choices around dogs. So, but it's imperative that you do e-collar foundation first, because if you correct your dog around other dogs when you haven't done that foundation, you can actually cause fallout where your dog will think the other dog's biting him, and then you get a whole tussle and all that stuff, and that's bad news as well. So watch those videos, get the e-collar. If you're serious about getting this sorted out, get the e-collar, watch those videos, practice, and build it up slowly from small, easy situations to where finally you're able to be around dogs and recall your dog off of dogs, and then also be able to correct if you don't get what you want just by recalling and making sure that your dog is being an awesome citizen and not hovering, because who likes a hovering dog, right?
Especially with little dogs. Come on.
We used to have a hovering dog.
Oh yeah.
The whole polar bear would hover.
Polar bear hovers.
Yeah, that was disconcerting to say the least, right? So, anyways, guys, we've got World War III
Road
going on.
rage.
The road
Major.
rage. Yeah. So.
She went crazy, man.
Yeah.
She was crazy.
Yeah. Well, she was enjoying some honk time.
I almost had to throw down.
Did you say what's up with you, Honky?
All I did was I took my jacket off and flexed.
Yeah.
And she just drove off really fast.
Yeah, I bet that would work. Yeah. Anyways, guys, so thank you so much. This is Q&A. Which one is this? 9?
Q&A 10, I think.
Is it 10?
I think it is.
Really?
I think so.
Wow, we've hit 10. That's. Stop worrying about the road rage. Be here. Be present with me.
About
yeah,
them.
No, don't worry.
Okay.
Our community needs
10.
us.
I know.
Okay.
We got to finish up. She's
guys,
waiting out.
you did awesome.
We love
did
you.
Awesome. You did
guys.
awesome. We love you guys.
All right.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.